Broad daylight. Heavy traffic. A black man steps out with his hands raised, trying to talk. He never runs. He never reaches. One shot shatters the afternoon, and the officer claims he feared for his life. The dashcam replayed the moment frame by frame, and it told a different story. This man made one simple mistake by coming down from his car. Before we continue, let me take this opportunity to thank you so much for supporting our channel. Just choosing to watch our video means a lot to us. Before we go any further, tell us where are you watching from. Drop your city or country below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if this is your first time here. March 22, 2018. A Thursday afternoon. The sun was brutal that day. The kind that made everything too clear to deny. No shadows to hide in. No darkness to blame. Just raw daylight exposing every movement, every decision, every mistake. The road was overflowing with life. Cars packed bumper to bumper. Delivery trucks growling. Buses hissing as they stopped and lurched forward again. Horns blaring in frustration. Tires screeching. Pedestrians craning their necks from sidewalks. Everyone rushing somewhere. And right in the middle of it all, chaos, noise, witnesses. A police cruiser sat angled across the shoulder like it owned the road. Red and blue lights flashed violently, cutting through the afternoon glare, forcing traffic to slow, merge, and squeeze past. Drivers stared openly. Some pulled out phones. Others shook their heads and kept moving. This wasn't a quiet road. This was a stage. The officer stood beside his cruiser, white, mid-40s, rigid, impatient. Sunglasses masked his eyes. Sweat darkened his uniform beneath the vest. One hand hovered near his belt like it was waiting for permission. He believed something was wrong. And belief was all he needed. Several yards back, a dark sedan eased to a stop. Inside sat a 35-year-old black man. He noticed the flashing lights immediately. Slowed. Signaled. Pulled over perfectly. Not abruptly. Not hesitantly. Exactly right. He turned off the engine. Turned on the interior light. Sunlight flooded the car, exposing his face, his hands, everything. Traffic thundered past inches away. He placed both hands flat on the steering wheel, fingers spread wide. Deliberate, practiced, rehearsed by years of knowing what could happen if he moved wrong. His heart was hammering, but his face stayed calm. The officer didn't approach. He just stood there, letting the moment stretch while cars stacked up behind and swerved around them. A delivery driver leaned on his horn. Someone yelled, "Come on!" from a window. Finally, the officer lifted his hand and waved sharply. "Get out." The 35-year-old man took a breath so deep it hurt. Slowly opened the door, stepped out into the roaring afternoon. Heat hit his face instantly. Wind from passing vehicles whipped his shirt. He raised his hands immediately, high, visible, undeniable. "I'm coming to talk, officer," he said loudly, forcing his voice through the noise. "If there's a problem, we can settle it." He took one cautious step forward. "Stop right there." The command sliced through the air. The man froze mid-step, like someone had hit pause on his body. "Yes, sir," he said quickly. I stopped. The space between them was impossible to ignore. Several long yards of open road. Clear daylight. No obstacles. No confusion. Anyone watching could see it. Inside the cruiser, the dashboard camera watched too. It captured the raised hands. The distance. The bright afternoon sun, the red recording light, blinked calmly. Traffic kept surging. A city bus roared past, shaking the air. A car slammed brakes too late and skidded. Horns exploded. The man swallowed hard. "You waved me down," he said again, voice strained but respectful. "I just want to understand what the issue is. I'm not resisting. I'm not." I said, "Don't move." The officer's voice was sharper now, louder, unstable. "I'm not moving," the man said quickly. "My hands are up. They've been up." His arms trembled from holding them high. Sweat dripped down his face. Still, he didn't lower them. The officer's chest rose and fell rapidly. His head turned briefly toward the traffic, then snapped back. His hands slid, slowly, deliberately, toward his gun. The man saw it. "Sir," he said, panic finally breaking through. "Please. It's the afternoon. There are people everywhere. My hands are up. I'm not armed." A horn blasted so loud it startled nearby drivers. Someone shouted, "Yo! What's happening?" The officer didn't respond. "Why are you approaching me?" the officer yelled. "I'm not approaching you," the man cried. "You told me to step out. I'm just trying to talk." Sunlight reflected off the officer's sunglasses, hiding whatever was happening behind them. Then, without warning, the gun came up. Time slowed to a crawl. The traffic noise dulled. The man stared at the barrel, at the finger tightening on the trigger, understanding in that instant that nothing he said mattered anymore. "Please," he said, voice breaking. "I'm 35 years old. I'm not armed. My hands are up." The gun fired. The sound was violent, explosive, ripping through the afternoon like a rupture. Cars screeched. Tires burned rubber. People screamed. The man was thrown backward, slamming into the asphalt. His body hit hard. His hands fell open beside him, palms still facing the sky. Empty. Blood spread quickly beneath him, dark and unmistakable against the sunlit road. Traffic collapsed into chaos. Cars swerved wildly. Drivers slammed brakes. Doors flew open. People poured out, shouting, filming, frozen in disbelief. Phones were everywhere. The officer stood motionless, gun still raised, staring at the body as if the world around him had stopped, but it hadn't. It was still a busy afternoon. Then training kicked in. He turned to his radio. "Shots fired," he said, voice shaking but rehearsed. Suspect advanced aggressively. I feared for my life. The lie landed in the middle of traffic. The dash cam recorded it all. It recorded the man never advancing. It recorded the raised hands in full daylight. It recorded the distance that never closed. It recorded the officer firing anyway. Backup arrived fast. Sirens slicing through congestion. Officers shoved witnesses back, redirected traffic, controlled the scene. Someone shouted what they'd seen. No one listened. One officer glanced into the cruiser. At the dash cam. At the blinking red light. Recording. He looked away. Later that day, in a quiet room far from the noise, the footage played. March 22nd, 2018. Time-stamped. Unfiltered. They watched the busy road. They watched the 35-year-old man step out with his hands raised. They watched him stop. They watched him die in broad daylight. No darkness. No confusion. No excuses. By evening, the footage was everywhere, paused on one haunting frame. A man standing still. Hands raised. Cars rushing past behind him. Alive. Candles lined the road before sunset. Flowers taped to guardrails. Drivers slowed. Some honking softly. Others wiping their eyes. The officer sat alone later, staring at his phone as alerts poured in. "They weren't supposed to see that," he whispered. But it was March 22nd, 2018. A busy afternoon. And everyone saw.